I overheard my fiancée tell her friend that her ex will always be the love of her life. Am I cooked? My fiancée, 31F and I 33M, got engaged in October last year and we have been in a relationship for 5 years now. Everything has been great, and I can honestly say that I've never met anyone who comes close to her. She's been the love of my life for sure. I've known her most of my life. We grew up on the same street just around the corner from each other. Her mom and dad still stay in the same house, and I still stay in the same house I grew up in, which my mom left me when she passed away in 2014. We still don't officially live together yet, but for all intents and purposes, she lives here. Her parents and she are really close, though, and she still has her bedroom there and will occasionally spend the night there, but she's never away from here anyway. This morning I decided to take a walk down to the shops to buy some things, and as I was about halfway there, I realized I had forgotten my face mask. Masks are mandatory here in shops since July 10th, so I had to walk back and get mine. When I walked in the door to grab a mask from the kitchen table, I heard her speaking loudly to someone on the phone in the living room. She said, "Yeah, but David will always be the love of my life." David is her ex-boyfriend. I don't know a great deal about him, but I know they were in a relationship for 2 years and it ended a year before we started dating. He also dumped her. I just grabbed my mask and walked back out just as I got to the shops. I felt weird and I had to sit down as my mind was going in 1,000 different directions. I eventually got back home and I immediately told her I felt sick and sent her back to her parents' house as I didn't want her around while I was ill. I'm lying in my bed now wondering what to do. To be honest, I know she didn't do anything wrong. It's not like she cheated on me or intentionally went out of her way to hurt me. But what's hurt can't be unheard. She basically said that the person she's agreed to marry doesn't match up to an ex she hasn't been with for 6 years. The fact she said he will always be the love of her life also means that it's a void game. Her heart's already been taken and there's nothing I could ever do to change that. Also, what would happen if he did come back into her life? You can't turn down the love of your life when they come calling. And I'd be dumped quicker than yesterday's leftovers. So what do I do? Tell her I was eavesdropping on her and heard her say that. Just end the relationship for a completely vague reason. Swallow my pride and pretend I didn't hear it. Everything has been wonderful, but there's no way on this earth I want to be someone's second choice, especially when her ex is the one on her mind that she obviously would be with if she could. I'm thinking about just saying it's not working between us. Update 1. I was going to update sooner, but I've spent the last 3.5 days drinking my feelings away. So my apologies, but I'll warn you, this is not a good update, right? So after posting and receiving some advice on Reddit on Thursday, I was thinking of telling her to come over at night so we could talk, but I settled on Friday morning instead, as I wanted to get my head in a clear state. She still thought I was ill, so I needed a bit of time to think through what I was going to say. So she comes around on Friday morning about 8 a.m. with rolls and tuna mayo crunch. Her mom had made for me, along with grapes, sweets and juice and stuff. I think she could see right away that something was wrong, as I must have looked stony-faced and you could cut the atmosphere with a knife. Anyways, I said to her that I wasn't really sick and that yesterday as I was going to the shops I forgot my mask, had to come back to retrieve it. And when I got in to get it, I heard her talking in the other room about David. Her face went completely pale and she started welling up, so I instinctively stopped talking and just stared at her. She then runs into the toilet, locks the door and starts hysterically crying, and alarm bells are going off all over the place in my head. Her reaction made me think she didn't know what I heard, so she must have said some other stuff about him as well. I knocked on the door and told her that if she had any aspirations of saving this relationship, she had better tell me everything right now. 30 minutes or so went by and she finally came out, dabbing her face with a tissue, and told me David got back in touch with her 4 or 5 months ago and she had been sleeping with him once or twice a week since. I mentioned in my previous post that she will occasionally go and stay with her parents, usually about once a week, sometimes twice, sometimes none. The thing is, I've popped around myself dozens of times over the years to speak to her mom or dad, watch TV or anything at all, really, without informing her, and she's always been there, so it's just become routine and I've never thought any more of it. This has obviously been the times that she's gone to meet David. All I can think of is that the snippet of conversation I heard her having was her friend or something helping her choose between David and me. When I heard this, I lost it. I kicked her out, grabbed handfuls of her stuff, put it in bin bags, and threw it out the door into the front garden. She's still standing there, by the way. I then grabbed my garden hose and drenched the bags with it. I'm not proud of that. It was extremely petty, and in hindsight, I should never have done that. At this point, she ran round to her house and about a minute later her dad comes rampaging round, screaming. Her dad and I end up rolling around the front garden, fighting at about 9 a.m. in the morning, no less. Police showed up and half the street was out because of the commotion. Afterward, I blocked her on everything and went to my friend's house where the 3 of us spent the weekend and Monday drinking. When I got back to the house this morning, I noticed she had been back in the house. At some point, she had made the beds, done the washing and ironed. I have no idea why she did this. As I'm writing this, she's trying to get in again. I haven't been able to change the locks yet, so I put the door chains on the front and back door and I heard the chains clanging as she tried to get in. There's also a note that she's put through the door. I don't even want to read it right now. I'm too hurt, hungry and hungover to even think about what she has to say. Update 2. Since everything that has happened, things have taken a turn for the worse. As many of you mentioned I should do, I sent an email to her father explaining my side of the story and apologizing for taking things public and embarrassing his daughter. But as I said previously, I acted instinctively. I didn't apologize for fighting him as I was reacting to him coming at me. He basically told me to screw off and accused me of biting his ear for some reason. So that's what was stuck in my teeth. I joke, of course, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. About a week ago, I went outside to find my car keyed right down from the passenger side wing mirror round to the boot. Last Sunday, I was walking down the road to meet a friend at the Arches, a place where we occasionally hang out and walk from an arched bridge. And as I was turning the corner, a friend of a friend called me a disgrace. I asked how I am a disgrace, and she told me that I'm a disgrace for beating up my ex-fiancée. Let's just be clear here, I've never laid a finger on her in my life, Either her or her father or someone else is perpetuating this lie, and me throwing her stuff out and hosing it has obviously given this an authenticity. I haven't spoken to my ex and she hasn't tried to contact me anymore. I think they're all on the same page now that I'm the bad guy. I've got the ball rolling and putting my house up for sale. I can't live here anymore. I wish I still had my mom to lean on. She would make things better. Sorry for the crappy update. Update 3. Hey, wow. So it's been a year since I last posted. Firstly, I want to thank everyone who has reached out. I've tried to reply to everyone and hopefully this update will help. I am still in my house, but I will be renting it out rather than selling it. I can't in good conscience give up something that was my mom's and it's been in the family for generations. I have since spoken to the father and I understand why the family circled the wagons, but to throw me under the bus so brutally was genuinely ridiculous. Collateral damage to me, and my name is alright. Apparently, I've only known them my entire life. All in all, I feel like I was in the midst of a crap storm that changed course. Still struggling, but feeling a lot better. Now that I've got an umbrella and a roadmap, I would also like to note that I posted on social media giving my side of the story. Whether or not that was right or not is up for debate, I guess. But it was after I'd let those close to me discreetly spread it first, so I felt the time was right. Her side is still singing off the same sheet, but I'm hoping neutrals will see things from my side. My close pals have been incredible throughout all this, but that's why they're close pals, I guess. Anyways, cheers. Edit well. It's been over a year again and I have since moved out of my house and am now renting it to a nice older couple. So I thought I would update. I'm doing great and have even got myself a girlfriend. Wish me luck. What I've learned. Life came at me fast, but I stood strong and for the first time in a long time, I'm looking forward to the future. We only get one life, right? Screw spending it with someone who would treat me like trash.